Good morning, super friends. Happy and peaceful Sunday to you. Corey Leland, top of the hour. With Corey Leland, wanted to do a little commentary on how to get a lot out of Psalm 91, a poem, a prayer attributed to Moses, the Moses Christ. Now, on this channel, if you've ever watched any of my videos before, and I hope you have, if not, feel free to do so. I like to blend the Moses and the Jesus every now and again, a little tiny dash of Buddha, but there's so much to be gleaned from all of those great teachers. But Psalm 91 is attributed to Moses, and it's a prayer of divine protection. It promises, hey Sparky, it promises us divine protection and tells us what our responsibility is for our part of that. Now it starts off saying, "He who dwells in the shelter, in the secret place of the Most High, shall abide, rest under the shadow of the Almighty God." So, first of all, it starts off saying, "He who dwells." And for me, when I hear they go, "I will, I want to," it's a free will. So some people will and some people won't. It says if you do, that 10,000 may fall at your left side, another 100,000 may fall at your right side, but it will not come near you. It will not come near your tent. It won't come near your dwelling place. It can't touch you because you are under the shadow of the mighty companions. He will command his angels to watch over you and save you, it says. So we want to, when we're studying Scripture, reading it isn't just enough. I mean, it could be like reading a menu. If only reading the menu was all you needed to do without having, placing your order and then having somebody, either go shopping or preparing, and then the eating and the digesting and the assimilation of the nutrients. So we want to go deeper into this Psalm 91 than just merely, I've read my Bible, today. So meditation is essential because if we just read the words, the word is never the thing. The word coffee is not coffee. The word food is not food. But words are symbols that lead us into a deeper awareness of what those symbols represent. So some of the key words, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but it right off the top says our responsibility. When it says he who dwells, I will, I want to, and then dwells is really the key word. Dwelleth, says the Old English, I guess it is, the translation, but he who dwells. So I want to focus on the dwelling. What is dwelling? Okay, I didn't look it up in the dictionary, but off the top, if I was to dwell on something, or what would you think that is? Well, it's contemplate, it's consider, it's ponder, dwell. But then you go deeper into the dwelling, and a dwelling place is where you live. Do you live and move and have your being in God? Which is another, instructional commandment. He who dwelleth. It's like, where do you abide? There's a Christ teaching. It says, he who abides in me, abide in me, and let me abide in thee. See, that's a letting. It's another free will. Abide in me, let me abide, and you will bear fruit richly like a tree. If you don't abide in me and you don't let me abide in thee, you're going to be like a withering branch cut off on the ground. You're not going to grow any fruit. You're not going to be receiving the nutrients from the trunk and the roots. So abiding and dwelling are very similar terms, in other words, and they come up again and again in various parts of the Bible. But we want to go beyond just the words of the Bible. Very important to have the words, but the word has to become flesh, because as the Apostle Paul tells us, the letter killeth, but the Spirit giveth life. So he who dwells, right there, it says, okay, I want to be that person. That's the first step. You got to take the free will to say, yeah, that's me. I want that. Dwells in the secret place. Now, what's the secret place? That's like the King James Version, which a lot of people consider the most authentic. Secret place, think about it. If you have a secret, and maybe it's where you keep a little extra money, you keep your spare house key, your spare car key, nobody else knows. It's that kind of intimate atmosphere of sacredness and secretness that you're going into your prayer time, your meditation. This is something for you. Nobody else can dwell for you. Nobody else can be born for you. Nobody else is going to die, for you. And nobody else is going to do the dwelling in the secret place, in the shelter of the Most High for you. That's something that you need to do for yourself. There's a Hindu, ancient Indian thing that says only the hand can put the food in the mouth. The elbow can't do it, your knee's not going to do it, your foot's not going to do it. So he who dwells. So dwelling is what I want to spend. I can't go too long on this. My computer cuts off after about 11 minutes. So I'm going to try to bring it in between, right around there. So he who dwells. Now dwelling is like wordless. We read the words, so think of the words as like a ladder to get onto the roof of your, house, your dwelling place. Once you get to the roof, you don't need the ladder for a while. So think of the words that we're reading and we're saying like a ladder, but then you're going to go like relax up on the roof. Remember that old song by the Drifters? James Taylor did a great cover version of Up on the Roof. So you want to get to that place where you are carefree and you're relaxing, you're dwelling in that shelter and the secret place of the Most High. And it goes on to say that for the person who does that successfully, you will be saved from the fowler's snare, from traps of all kinds that are set out to catch you and trap you. And there's some things that humanly it's easy to worry about. I know a lot of people are worried about tyrannical government overreach now, forced testing and mandatory injections of questionable substances with tracing and tracking, and it's just an insane Twilight Zone time. But the world, as I say here on this channel quite a bit, is not actually happening-ism. The world is like a matrix, it's a drama, it's a dream world, and ultimately the fowler's snare is the temptation, the strong hypnotism that tells us we're just bodies with a persona that's doomed to have only a birthday and a death day and a little bit of maybe fun in between if we can find it. But death is always waiting one way or another. So what we're going to be saved from and lifted out of by dwelling in the shelter, the secret place, consciously saying, I will say he is my refuge, my fortress, my high tower, putting on that full armor of God. I will trust he will save me. So I will be saved from financial lack. I'll be saved from forced mandatory vaccinations of poisonous, highly questionable substances, from police and army knocking on my door or at roadside checkpoints to force me to do these things. This is whatever you're concerned about, whatever works for you, these are just some things that get me into that motivated place to receive. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High. So you've used the words, okay, I've decided, this is something I want. I want the mighty companions that it promises, that I can rest and relax from concern and worry, that's something divine and all-powerful, more powerful than anything in the realm of effect, is when you're consciously united with the cause of all safety, which is God's presence, God's power, God's law, will lift you out of the dream world back into the realm of heaven, as the Apostle Paul says, for the faithful, absent from the body, present with the Lord, that instantly, no matter how you leave the world, be of good cheer, I've overcome the world, as Christ says after the crucifixion. Now, hopefully none of us have to go through such an extreme example as that. But so you're at the top of the roof, and the dwelling, I want to point out, is wordless. Like you're relaxing in the sunshine to get warm. You don't have to keep thinking, I'm getting warm, I'm getting warm, I'm getting tan, the sun is hot. Those thoughts mean nothing. The sun is what it is, and you are what you are, and you're just resting in it. So the dwelling in the secret place is like resting in the sunshine to get warm after you've been in the cold ocean. And even more, because we tend to use the body as like a fence to try to keep God out, but there's nowhere where the Father ends and the Son begins. It's everywhere. It's all through us. But we're not consciously aware of it because we haven't chosen to say, I want to dwell in that secret place. And then that dwelling, that trusting, that resting, and that relaxing, and that assurance that I have this divine companion, this shadow of the Almighty that I can rest in, that's going to save me from all the slings and arrows and the deadly pestilence of the, as it says, in the world, the fowler's snare it calls it. But that can be likened to the whole drama of the human scene, that it's going to lift us back into heaven when the time is right. So the dwelling, you're up on the roof, you're relaxing in the sunshine, but think of it as a sponge. You're like a dry, thirsty sponge of fear and concern for your body or your future or your family or your finances. And now you're placed in a jacuzzi, a hot tub, a cool pool of holy water, of healing, of protection, and just the dwelling, the resting. I'm just suggesting that you're allowing wordlessly, like a small child who hasn't yet acquired language. You're silent. You're just a state of awareness, but you're aware that you're allowing, you're welcoming, like a thirsty sponge, the water. And God's protection is like the moisture in your sponge. So practice that at the top of each hour with me. Thank you so much. We have some great promises in the Psalm 91, but we do have some responsibilities that nobody can do for you. And so practice is essential. Practice that presence of God top of each hour. 5 minutes when you care to. Think of it as a new way to vote. My name is Corey Leland. If you want to, hit the like and subscribe. I usually make like one video a week, but if I actually had a few people that were interested, I might make a few more. So if you want to email me, it's topofthehourwithcoreyleland@gmail.com. And God bless. Have a beautiful day. Stay peaceful in these times. And this is something we can use as incentive, the lockdown, to get closer to God and go deeper into the scriptures. Have a beautiful, blessed day. Thanks so much. Corey Leland, top of the hour with Corey Leland.